G'day and welcome back. In this video I'm going to show you the Dragan effect, kind of editing the grungy black and white, cool editing style and effect using Lightroom Mobile, the app. I did have another video that I used Snapseed, which is really cool. Go check that one out, the link above. And but this time I'm going to show you how to do it in Lightroom Mobile, just to show you the difference between the two apps to create a very similar kind of look. So I'll show you the before photo here and the after. So there's the before and the after. You can see the dramatic difference and that artistic kind of look that I'm going for. Lightroom is the one of the many apps that I show on this YouTube channel. This is the one we're playing with today. And I've got these really cool other little lower thirds that as I'm going, I'm going to show you these and the tools that I'm using. So without further ado, let's get into it. And I'll open this up into Lightroom. So there's our photo. The first thing I want to do is those local selective adjustments. So now this is only on the paid subscription model that you get access to these. That's why I've got the other video there on Snapseed, which is fantastic. But this one here you can, with the paid subscription, it's pretty cheap. Just do it through the app and yeah, easy to do. And so first thing I do is I go to the tap icon. What I want to do here, what I'm doing is I want to try and see how one side of his face is a bit dark. I want to try and level that and try and reduce those highlights on the side as well. So we'll go into the gradient and I'm going to, first of all, add a gradient. I'll drag it over to here and that's pretty good. Then I'll go to my light panel, bring the exposure down, bring the highlights down, and you can see there that's doing it. Now just being mindful, balancing between exposure and highlights. Notice there how I had that real halo effect there. I realized I went too far around the hairline, so I'm bringing that back so that I've dulled that off. So that's the first thing I want to do. Next thing I want to do is another gradient. So that's done the background. So I want to do another gradient. Whoop, went around the wrong way there. Swing that around. And about there. This time I want to brighten the side of his face. So I'm brightening that up a bit. And I might go in because it's kind of lost a little bit of saturation as well. So I'm going to go into the color and add a little bit of saturation there. That's what I really like about these selective tools inside Lightroom Mobile is you can do a few of them. And you can see there that yes, it's gone in and it's affecting that background, the one that I darkened. Now I'm lightening it and kind of messing it up. So I'm going to mask that out and just with my finger paint and just choose those areas that I'm masking out. All right, press the tick. That's pretty good. Next I want to do is, if you have a look, now because of the way this is captured and the way that I've just brightened and darkened and mucked it around a bit, see the eyes are off now, so one's darker than the other. So as soon as I convert this into a black and white, that's going to look really odd. So I'm going to go in there and do another selective, and I'm just going to do the radial this time. And I'll go in there and just dull that off a bit. There we go. Contrast, add a bit of contrast. That's looking a bit better. Maybe a little bit too much. There we go. That's looking better now. All right, cool. We'll move on. That's excellent. All right, the next thing I want to do is the effects panel. So it's there. You can see how cool is that? The lower thirds down there. Oh, pointing that way. Get there. All right, so texture is what I want to play with. So let's go into that effects panel. Texture. I want to reduce the texture. Now this sounds counterintuitive, going, well, you want grunge, you want details, but texture is so good. Texture will go in there and smooth off some of those the finer points there, because what I really want to encourage people to look at is the real deep kind of frown and details there. So that's what I want to do there. Next, I want to go in and do clarity. I want to increase the clarity. I want to increase dehaze. And yes, it's looking pretty grungy now, but we're creating a kind of a HDR look, that real grungy look. So if I hold my finger on there, you can see the before, let go, the after. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with that. So the next thing I'll move on to now is the color panel. Let's see if I've got a little thing here. There we go, color panel. And what I want to do in here is then turn it into a black and white. So you can see the B and W up the top there, black and white. Zoom out a bit. There's our before, there's our after. Actually, I keep forgetting I've got this new system here where I've got it down below there, the before, so you can see it as I'm doing it, which is really cool. All right, so I've done that. There's really not much else I want to play around with here other than just converting it. So the next thing I want to do is go into back into that effects panel. And what I want to do in here is I want to add a vignette. So I'm going to add a real dark vignette. Regardless whether I'm adding a real dark vignette or not, I actually go all the way -100 so I can actually see it. So when I play around with the other bits, I can see that, hey, this is what I can actually see exactly what I'm doing. So what I want to do is midpoint, reduce that, okay, and feather, I want to feather it, go that way, and roundness, kind of round that like that. And now I'll go back to the vignette, and that's pretty good. Now you can see there, I'm going to show you something. Now that's, if you're on a free plan, this is the way to do it, okay? You can see that that's quite good, but one of the things that's kind of what it's done is because he's kind of slightly off center, the vignette is in the center, which means that on the right side of our frame there, it's a little bit brighter. So I want to get rid of that. So vignette, get rid of that, double tap near it, and it goes back to a 0. And I want to go back to local. I want to do a radial, okay, whoop, like that. Bring down my notifications panel. It's not helpful. Let's try that again. Here we go. Okay, and that's pretty good. Now what I want to do is invert it. So now I've inverted it, back to the light panel, and I'll go in there and just reduce, and I can just move that around. How cool is that? So now my vignette is slightly off center, matching where his face is. And what I can also do is go into texture, reduce the texture to 100%, and that has just softened that background as well. So any sort of noise and grain grittiness in the background, I've actually smoothed that off a little bit as well. So that's pretty cool. Pretty happy with that. Press the tick. A couple of little things I want to do now is just a little bit of brushing. Now, don't need to, but I want to go in there and just go, and I want to go and do plus brush, and I want to go, oops, don't want to do that, plus brush, but go in there nice and close. I want to brush, okay, around his eye here, and I want to make that brighter, okay, make that a bit brighter, zoom out, make sure it's not real funky, go back in here, and add a bit more here, so brighter, and erase around his pupil there. I want to bring his pupil back, so I want his pupil to be black. I don't want to brighten that. Okay, and go in there, brighten it. And what I want to do is just go back and just check, make sure that they're level, that they're even, and don't look too crazy. And I think that looks really cool. That's happy with that, and because that's what I want. I want your attention to go to his eyes. I want you to see all the wrinkles, and then go down and check out the texture in his beard there. So I'm pretty happy with that. That's we've still left enough definition in the clothes and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button so that you're notified for the next one, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.